Yo, get the speaker box loud, hitting that stuff till you hearing that sound.
Music licensing reimagined. Artlist.io.
And now I want to run through a wall, but you know what? Welcome to Around the Paul, complete with our brand new intro and countdown. That's compliments of Clifton Kennedy. I tell you what, man, that's great work on that. So we hope you enjoyed that little bit. Now, that's going to be getting better and better, coming to you live every week. But we've got a lot to talk about on this week's episode. So allow me to introduce myself. If you don't know already, I'm Garrett Mitchell, along with the rest of the Around the Paul crew. It's Griffin Barfield and Clifton Kennedy. And gentlemen, it has been a busy day in Tiger Town, and we've got a lot to talk about. 2024 football schedule has dropped. We're going to break that down and talk about the prospects for Clemson in 2024. We're going to talk about the Tigers' newest five-star football commit for the class of 25, and we're going to talk some basketball as well. So let's just jump right into it. New schedule just dropped today. First impressions from what you see.
For me, I think the beginning of the season is going to be a true test. I really think that, obviously Georgia, a top team in the country. I think that they're a consensus top 4 team. No matter what, I really think that's going to be a fun one. App State, really out of conference game that I'm excited for. They always give teams run for their money. Last year that was they played North Carolina. They went into overtime in that game. NC State really under the radar. Florida State, always a fun one. That's a huge game with DJ. But down the line, it's kind of easing up a little bit, which I kind of like. But yeah, I really think that this is a favorable schedule. It tests the Tigers early, and then they can kind of just sit back and relax, especially if they have a great start to the season.
Yeah, I think that I'm excited about that Georgia game. We're definitely going to be there. And then we go, our App State comes to us. That's not going to be an easy game. And then we got NC State, and then we get good old Stanford. And
I cannot wait for that game. First time since 1986. I was 1 year old.
I know. And I'm really excited about this Florida State game. Not gonna lie to you. We're gonna be there too. So I'm really excited about that. And like Garrett said, it kind of eases up on the back end. But the front end of the schedule could be tough. Besides, I don't know how Stanford's going to be, but, it could be tough.
Weren't they like 4-8 or 3-9 or something like that?
Roughly.
Yeah.
Yeah, roughly.
Yeah. Yeah, so. Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what, my initial thoughts are now, of course, everybody's counting down to the Chick-fil-A Classic opener at Mercedes-Benz down in Atlanta against Georgia. And, I tell you what, Clifton, you've got it up there on the graphic. Everybody can see it. You're projecting that as Clemson's only loss. Now, look, I'm a homer, and I tell people I'm never going to apologize for being a homer. I personally think we're just going to go down there and we're going to beat Georgia. Now, I don't think we blow them out by any stretch of the imagination, but look, there's a few receipts to collect from 2021. And I don't think they're holding Clemson to 3 points this time. So, you know what? Let's shoot for the stars. We're going to go down there. We're going to shock the world, and everybody's going to know that Clemson is back. But either way, I do agree. Regardless of what happens in that season opening game, you navigate the first 5 games of the year, then I think you start to lighten up a little bit, and you feel pretty good that you could win those. And look, with the expanded playoffs, if Clemson goes 11-1 and wins the ACC, they're in the playoffs. I mean, it's that simple. So you have an opportunity now to really absorb that first game if it doesn't go your way.
Yeah, 12-team playoff too. I think any team that wins a Power 5 conference is in no matter what, so that's your win and you're in. But I mean, I'm looking at the schedule a little bit more, especially down the line. I think Louisville could be a fun one, especially they were an ACC finalist. Playing in Blacksburg is tough. No matter what team you are, no matter how good or bad Virginia Tech is, and they are on the come up. I love what they're doing. That's always going to be a tough one. Same thing with Pittsburgh. You're traveling north. It's a little bit rougher. And you never know which Pittsburgh Panthers team shows up. And you're always going to play a ticked off South Carolina, especially with the way last game went. And it's kind of 1-1 over the last 2 years. I really think that one's going to be a really fun one, especially at home, because you're going to have both sides there no matter what. And that's just how it is when it comes to the Palmetto Bowl. But I really think that if this team does go 11-1, I think they belong in the playoff. It's battle tested. And, this team has what they need to do in front of them. And now they just have to execute. And that's what the offseason's all about.
Yeah, the only reason I put Georgia as a loss is because everybody's expecting us to lose that game, right? And so if we somehow, some way knock off Georgia, then the only game I'm probably worried about is probably, and this is crazy because Florida State's lost everything, but Florida State. Maybe NC State. I mean, they got to come to Clemson. That's the good part, right? So, and I was talking with Garrett, before you came on, Griffin, and he said something about going to Virginia Tech, and like you said, that game could be fun. So, who knows, man? I mean, this could be a good season. And I think we go 11-1 or 12-0, or I think we maybe even go 11 or 10-2. I think we make the playoff. That's just me. I don't know.
Well, guys, I'll tell you, and talking about Virginia Tech, and I've just been waiting for us to have them back on the schedule, but not only that, for us to go to Blacksburg. My best friend and I, we actually made that drive up there to Blacksburg in 2017, the year that Kelly Bryant was the starting quarterback. And it was a top 10 matchup. I think Clemson was ranked number 3. Virginia Tech was number 10. If my memory serves correctly, it was college game day. And we got up there about 10 o'clock in the morning. We went and walked around campus, went to the game day set. And I can tell you from experience that Virginia Tech fans, in terms of opposing fan bases, they're quite literally the nicest people, the nicest opposing fan base that I have ever met. I think the moment we stepped out of the car, we had 4 Virginia Tech students immediately come up to us and say, "Hey, do you know where you're going? You want to roll with us and come see the campus?" They, "Well, I'll go get something to eat after. You just hang out with us." And we're decked out with Clemson gear. So, you don't often get that type of hospitality. But I'll say this, Enter Sandman in Lane Stadium is something that you need to see in person at least one time. And, I look forward to it as well. And I'll give a shout out to Virginia Tech's top receiver is Jalen Lane. Now, I have a little bit of a connection to Jalen. His dad, Brian Lane, was my high school alma mater's football coach from 2008 to 2013. Jalen was a little 5-6-year-old kid running around our football stadium as a little ball boy. And we never knew just how good of a football player he was going to be. Now, unfortunately, he never got to play for Woodruff. His dad was coaching elsewhere by then. But little Jalen Lane, who is now the leading receiver at Virginia Tech, was one of our ball boys at Woodruff High School when he was a little bitty guy. So, man, I tell you what, they're great people. And I can't help but pull for Jalen Lane. I've got to pull for Jalen.
I like a lot of these head coaches too. Like Louisville, Jeff Brom, I love him as a coach. I think that he adds a real grit and toughness that Louisville has kind of been lacking. And Tony Elliott, I really think that we're not really talking about him. He's coming back to Clemson. He He coached at Clemson, and now he's getting his homecoming. So that game's obviously going to be close. Brent Pry with Virginia Tech is doing some awesome things since he's taken the helm in 2022. So I really think that even a two-loss Clemson team has a great shot at making the playoff. It's a tough ACC division. I will say that. I think that there's so many different teams in the running. But yeah, if you're battle tested, I think you're in if you're Clemson.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited to see Virginia come to Clemson. I think that's going to be fun. Tony Elliott coming back home, to where he really got his big break, and all that. Seeing everybody, and we haven't played Virginia in a really, really long time. And
no, we played them a couple of years ago, I thought.
Yeah.
Did we not? And we played them in the ACC championship game.
Yeah. We played them in the ACC championship. Yeah, but as far as like the regular season, I think it's been a while. I could be wrong, but you might have to look that up. But I feel like it's been a while. But yeah, I think this football season is going to be fun. Before we know it, we're going to be in spring ball and fall, and spring camp and all that, So it's going to be fun, man. But that it's going to be a good time.
Yeah, no doubt. And I love the some of the home games. You've got App State, NC State, Virginia, Stanford. And then who doesn't love South Carolina coming to Death Valley for the annual chicken kicking? That's going to be fun. Just when they thought their misery couldn't get any deeper, they get to come to us this year. And look, quite frankly, I have not seen any indication that they're getting any better from their 5-7 season this past year. My only hope for South Carolina is that they found the best bowling alley they could possibly find in the greater Richland or Lexington County areas.
I also think this Clemson team's pissed off. They ruined their whole longest home winning streak in the country. I really think that they're going to come out with a chip on their shoulder, even though they did win last year. Last time this game was in Death Valley, South Carolina won 31-30. So I really think that this team is going to be pissed off that, the last time that these two teams played, they lost a heartbreaker. So I'm excited for that one. I'm really excited to see how Clemson comes out of that game and how they handle the Gamecocks.
Here you go, right here, baby. There you go.
Love that, man.
There you go.
Love that, man. Is killing it.
There you go.
I agree 100%.
Hey,
look, Griffin is the star of the show, man. I mean,
yeah, for real.
He could have his own syndicated talk show one day.
Yeah, come on now. You guys are being too nice.
Yeah. Hey, Grayson. Hey, you got a great podcast too, buddy. We appreciate the support.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Grayson's a good guy. So, yeah, I saw that and had to show it to you, Griffin.
Yeah, I saw that in the comments. I'm like, love you, Grayson. Awesome stuff.
Well, guys, I tell you what, not only does the new football schedule drop today, but Clemson got another very welcome surprise, kind of an out-of-the-blue football commitment for the 25 class. But this isn't just any commitment. This is a guy that is ranked in the top 20 in the country in the class of 2025. That's defensive end Ari Watford. On3 has him rated as the #1 defensive end in the class. He's from Norfolk, Virginia. So I tell you what, the good luck. I mean, it just keeps rolling right along right now. And for new defensive ends coach Chris Rump, this is his first big recruiting splash. And I tell you what a way to make your entrance in the recruiting game at Clemson than to go out and get a commitment from the #1 edge rusher in the class of 25.
Not even, a month and a half into his coaching career at Clemson. I mean, looking at this guy, he's complete raw, 6'5", 220 pounds. You're going to get some muscle on him. I really think that this is an experimental type player if you're Chris Rump, and he has Ari Watford has all the potential in the world. You could look at any of his highlight tapes, and he is able to get to the quarterback. He's able to disrupt plays. He's a true disruptor. And yeah, I'm really excited for him to come to Clemson just to see how he develops as a defensive end. Guys like Xavier Thomas, TJ Parker, you can follow the likes of guys like that. So, I mean, you hit the jackpot if you're Coach Sweeney, Coach Rum, for anybody on the Clemson staff. This is an incredible recruitment pickup.
Yeah. Yeah, it was definitely a surprise to me. But and I'm gonna have to go watch his tape. But everything I've heard about this guy, it's just he's head of everybody else. And so I am really excited to see what Chris Rump can do with a player like him, and mold him and shape him and help him get to where he needs to be.
Yeah, and look, I think that this is just one of the next dominoes to fall. Look, you've already got Amari Adams, who's a top 100 player in the class of 25, the number 1 overall recruit in the state of South Carolina. And now you get Ari Watford on board. And on the offensive side of the ball, you've already got Gideon Davidson, who I believe is the number 2 rated running back in the class. That's a kid that when it's all said and done, he's going to be 5-star rated. And then when you look at some of the crystal balls and projections, there's 2 or 3 other players in the top 30 to 40 that are 100% crystal ball to Clemson. Guys like Jonte Gilbert, who is a big-time recruit out of Georgia. So the dominoes are starting to fall for this 25 class, and quite frankly, the way that it's trending, I think this is going to end up being one of Dabo Swinney's best classes in his 16, 17 years at Clemson.
I completely agree. I really think that this is a very impressive start, especially, with the recruits that are just coming in out of the 2024 class. You're already just resetting and reloading into almost like we say time and time again, an embarrassment of riches. And I'm really excited to see how, Coach Nick Easton and, like I said, Chris Rump are able to develop these guys, because we've seen it on the defensive tackle standpoint with guys like Brian Brzee, Peter Woods, Tyler Davis, Ruka Roro. I mean, the list goes on. But I mean, we didn't really see that a lot with Lemansky Hall being able to kind of develop players like that. So I'm really excited to see what he's able to do with a guy like Ari Watford, for sure.
Yeah, I'm excited about it too, guys. I think it's gonna be a good fit.
Yeah, no doubt. I'll tell you what, you've got to love defensive linemen, defensive ends. They can just eat up quarterbacks. And speaking of eating, that's why you need to go check out our fine sponsor, Ardens Burger Grill at 1280 18 Mile Road Central. And you can tell them they've got all manner of great food. You've got to try their double dip wings, mouth-watering burgers, and sizzling grills. They take great care of us, so please go help take care of them. Ardens Burger Grill at 1280 18 Mile Road Central, and you can tell them that Around the Paul sent you there. All right, guys.
And my man Griffin or my man Grayson knows about Ardens too. So Grayson, my man Grayson right here knows about Ardens. He's been there before.
Yeah, hey, absolutely. It's our go-to, man. It's our go-to for pregame eats, so you can't miss it. So we've got the new football schedule, new big-time commit for Clemson football. Now let's switch gears here a little bit, and let's talk some Clemson basketball. I'll tell you what, I mean, a Clemson team that was scuffling, then they go on the road to Florida State, and, man, I'll tell you what, no pun intended, but they rebounded in a really big way.
Yeah, I was really nervous about this Florida State game. I said it last week, but this was such a huge win for Clemson basketball. And they were down at first. And I really like how Brad Burnell was able to kind of change the way the defense moved. I don't know if any of y'all saw it, but he switched to a zone in the second half in route to the way that Clemson came back. And like I said, I really thought that would help guys like Joe Girard, who, spent his whole career at Syracuse playing the zone. But yeah, I there were a couple double-digit scores too. Josh Beadle, I really think that he's lightning in a bottle, especially on the bench. Jack Clark played a great game as well, and he's still coming back from an injury. He's coming off the bench. I really think that he could be a guy that could be starting when Clemson goes to Duke on Saturday. I really do. But yeah, it was an incredible win, especially in a hostile environment like Tallahassee, but that makes it 3 straight against the Seminoles. So just keep it rolling, and you got a Duke team that has been pretty vulnerable recently. So hopefully we're trending in the right direction, and maybe we get a bigger win than what South Carolina did at Kentucky.
Oh wow, yeah. I'm excited. I hope that I get to go to that game, and I'm excited that Garrett's going, and we're gonna have a photographer there. So, but yeah, it's gonna be a good game. And didn't we have 4 double-digit scores in that Florida State game?
We did.
Yeah,
We
and
did.
that was great to see. And Josh Beadle, I'm with you, Griffin. I'm very high on him. He played very well against Florida State, and I'm excited to see, if he can keep that up.
Yeah, and I tell you what, you talk about going to Duke on Saturday, and one of the true cathedrals of college basketball, Cameron Indoor Stadium. I don't really care which team you're a fan of. If you're a fan of college basketball in general, you have to respect the tradition that's behind Duke and what Cameron Indoor Stadium is. It's one of the truly difficult places to play. And so the Tigers, look, Clemson knows what they're up against going into a place like that. But why it was so important to win at Florida State, you need all of the momentum behind you that you can possibly get going into a game against Duke. Look, it's a wounded Duke team right now. They've been scuffling. But I tell you what, to me, it's what makes them dangerous. Getting back on their home court, the talent's there. You can easily go in there and beat them. You can also easily go in there, and if you let your guard down, get run slap out of the building. So to have that momentum behind the Tigers is huge. I don't think it can be understated.
And I really think that Clemson have a very good chance of beating Duke at Duke. And Duke are coming off a loss at home. Pittsburgh shot the lights out. They shot 50% from three, and they only beat Duke by 4. That's what the kind of Duke team you're dealing with. But yeah, this team, like I said last week, they're very good on defense, but they're losing their top guard. From what I know, Jeremy Roach, Duke's top guard, who didn't play at Clemson last year when Clemson had that huge upset, he re-injured his knee yesterday at Louisville. And I know he was hurt. Mark Mitchell was hurt. Roach and Mitchell didn't play at Pittsburgh, and that's why they lost. Or that was a huge factor. But yeah, I expect a lot from Duke in terms of their center, Kyle Filipowski. He was a huge threat against Clemson last year. Consensus all ACC first team type player. But yeah, Clemson does have ways to win this game. They certainly do. But I really think that it's going to happen in the backcourt. For Duke, they have very young guys. Jared McCain, Tyrese Proctor, Caleb Foster. Those are 2 freshmen and a sophomore. You look at guys like, let's say, Joe Girard and Chase Hunter. Those are guys with 4 or 5 years under their belt. That could be a huge difference in that. And I also think a banged up team where Roach, who averaged a steal and a half a game, that's a huge factor on both ends in terms of transition points. So there are a lot of ways Clemson can win this game. I've been watching both teams pretty religiously in terms of how Clemson can beat Duke and how Duke can beat Clemson, but it's going to be a really fun one, and I expect it to be very close.
Yeah, I think that PJ Hall, I mean, this sounds like a cop-out, but I think PJ Hall is going to be an X factor in that game to take care of Filipowski, or however you say his name, because that dude, I watched part of the Louisville game, and dude, he was lights out. He made some plays, and I was like, holy cow, we're gonna need PJ Hall big time, and he's gonna have to stay out of foul trouble. Like it's gonna be hard, but he's gonna have to.
Yeah, look, PJ Hall has made a living his entire career, going all the way back to high school, of coming up big in key situations when he's got a chip on his shoulder, or if he thinks that people are overlooking him. Look, if he hears one word of somebody saying that Filipowski is a better player, the better player going into this game, then if I know PJ Hall like I think I do, then he's going to go in that game to prove that one person and everybody else wrong. So,
why don't you send him that text? Why don't you send him that text and tell him that? Yeah. Why don't you put that little bug in his ear?
A pissed off PJ is a doubly dangerous PJ.
PJ Hall, 26 points last year against Duke. I mean, I'm looking at them hand in hand. I really think that this is going to be the matchup of the game. But I'm interested also to see who Brownell matches up Filipowski with, because in the Duke game last year, Ian Shefflin guarded him for a majority of the game. And, these are 2 different Ian Shefflins. I think Ian Shefflin has taken a huge step this year, especially. But I think a huge factor as well is you got to grab those defensive rebounds. I think Filipowski had like 5 or 6 offensive rebounds able to get second chance points. Same thing with, guys like Derek Lively last year. He's in the NBA now. But I really think this Duke team lacks front court. They have all the star power in the backcourt. They have lightning in a bottle, like with guys that I said earlier. Mark Mitchell does a great job of cutting to the inside. He can shoot the three at times as well. But, Duke's a team that lives by the pick and roll and dies by the pick and roll. They know how to pick and pop. They love using Filipowski, either cut to the basket or cut around the arc. He's incredible from three. I think he shoots over 40%. But yeah, like you said, Cliff, I think PJ Hall, especially from beyond the arc, is going to have to be an X factor here. He hasn't really been the best. He was 0 for 3 against Florida State this past weekend. He needs to hit a 3 or 2 if Clemson want to stay in this game and they want to take over, go on huge runs.
Yeah, we're gonna have to hit threes too. I think we can't go 1 for 18 or 3 for 21 at the 3-point line. Because it's just not gonna work.
Yeah, I agree. But I'll tell you what, when you look at, I don't know if you guys follow Joe Lunardi, and he releases his updated bracketology every week. And Lunardi's still fairly high on Clemson, despite the struggles in recent weeks. I think when he released his updated bracketology, I think it's every Monday, he still has Clemson as a number 6 seed in the NCAA tournament. And I'll tell you what, I think that's pretty decent respect for what Clemson was able to accomplish earlier in the season and for what he thinks that the Tigers could do down the stretch. Look, you get a 5 or 6 seed, that anything's possible. In recent years, what we've seen, teams like Florida Atlantic, and Griffin, you may be too young to remember this, but back in the mid-2000s, you had George Mason, who made it to the Final Four. These teams are like 10, 11 seeds making it to the Final Four. So, look, if you can just kind of stay right there in the middle of the pack, you get hot, you catch lightning in a bottle. 2 years ago, North Carolina made it to the championship game as an 8 seed. Anything can happen when you get to March. I mean, you can throw records and rankings and everything else out the window. Just get in, get hot, and look, this Clemson team is perfectly talented enough to make a deep run in March.
That's why March Madness is the best tournament. That's why it truly is. But yeah, I think 6 seeds well-deserving. Clemson has had some tough losses, but I think they're all justified, maybe except for Georgia Tech. But yeah, Miami loss is tough, but it was at Miami. North Carolina, they're a top 3 team in the country. Virginia Tech was at Virginia Tech. They shot the lights out. Georgia Tech, same thing, but it was at home. So that was the only little bit of a crushing loss. Memphis, that was away at Memphis too. I really think if Clemson do lose this game and keep it close, I really think it's not going to matter. It's just a matter of if Duke's going to blow this team out, then that's going to be a bit of a problem. Do I see that happening? Not really. I don't. I think this Clemson team likes to stay in games. I really don't see this team getting blown out by anybody. Yeah, I think it's well justified, and they have plenty of great games to up that resume, especially and get hot during the ACC tournament.
Yeah, I don't see this team getting blown out at all. They fight. They don't give up. They scrap. They're a scrappy team. And I just don't see that happening at all.
All right, guys. As we kind of come down the home stretch here of this episode, first of all, we're live. So if anybody out there on Twitter or whatever platform you're watching, drop us questions, man. We've got a few minutes left. So drop anybody that has a question for us, type it in, man, and we'll do our very best to answer it. But we'll give people a chance to anybody that wants to get a question, and we'll give them a chance to get that all typed out. And while we do that, how about a shout out to the brand new Clemson Gymnastics program?
I was about to say that. I was about to say that, yeah.
Sellout in program history the other night. That was great to see.
Dude, I was there. Go ahead.
It was, I didn't go. I had friends that went, and they were texting me. They're like, this is completely surreal. Gymnastics is awesome. Regardless of what you think about it, it is an incredible sport to watch. It is hype. It is exciting. It's all the above, just seeing these incredible athletes do what they do. And I forget what it was, but I think it was like the best debut in any program's history, which is incredible to see from Amy Smith and her team. I'm just excited to see what this team does in the future. I think they go up.
They're at North Carolina.
Yeah,
at North Carolina.
So that's a good test, especially away from home.
Yeah.
A little bit of a different thing, but I'm really excited to see what this team does. It's a really great excitement to see a new team, especially how incredible these athletes are.
Yeah. I was there. I took my daughter, and dude, she loved it. It was sold out. There's music going constantly, like it's high energy. The floor routines were immaculate. Like those floor routines, man. The last girl for Clemson, holy cow, dude. That girl was amazing. And so I'm super excited for gymnastics just because it's something new, something new to cover, and it's something new that I can take my daughter to, right? And it's something that she can get into. And so they're doing really well, and I'm jacked, man. It's gonna be fun.
Guys, I'm going to show my age here, and I'm going to make Clifton show his too. But look, for anybody that's not familiar with gymnastics or think that they wouldn't like it, or we're not really into that kind of thing. If you don't think gymnastics is exciting, then I would encourage you to just jump on YouTube and type in Krie Scrubs gold medal winning vault from the 1996 Summer Olympics in Atlanta. And tell me gymnastics is not exciting. To watch that kid back in 1996, quite literally with a broken ankle, run down that gangway and have a perfect vault to win the gold medal for Team USA, and could not, and to watch it, she had to be carried off. Had to be carried.
I remember that
because she couldn't walk. A broken ankle, and used every
that.
last bit of what she had to make that vault and win the gold medal. Tell me gymnastics isn't exciting. I was 11 years old.
Yeah.
I was sitting right in front of my TV. I watched it happen live. And I tell you what, that hooked me on gymnastics right then. The skill that these young ladies have is incredible.
Yeah,
I mean, you said it best. These women are incredible. Yeah, I mean, I grew up. My mom taught gymnasts as like a teacher, but she was able to watch these girls just do incredible stuff. And I mean, I can't even like do a handstand, and that's just saying stuff from there. But I need to get to a meet as soon as I have some free time, because I have heard nothing but incredible things. And if anybody's in the Clemson area, you need to see these women perform, because it's really fun to watch.
And it's definitely something to take your kids to, right? Like it's just high energy, like all the time. And these gymnasts are very athletic and can do things that, man, a lot of people can't do when it comes to how they bend their body and do all these twirls and stuff like that. It's crazy.
Well, I tell you what, guys, as we wrap this up, do we have any questions that have come through the wire yet? I know we signed off last week right as one came through that we didn't quite get to. We were a little slow on the gun with that one, but if not, then
just this one.
What, right, well,
best one so far.
That's the best comment.
It bears repeating. It's the point of the night.
Yeah. So, yeah. So that's the only comment we got tonight. Looks like we got 3 people watching, but if you guys have questions,
to the 3 who are tuned in right now, hey, we appreciate you guys.
Yeah,
always.
Appreciate it. And
always.
And if you got questions, hit us up right quick before we go. Oh, check out my my 1979 shirt that my mom made when she was in college. They took these down to I think it was the Gator Bowl, or no, the Peach Bowl, and sold these shirts. And I found this shirt and I was like, dude, I gotta wear it.
Good Lord, 1979.
Awesome.
Cliff, I don't even know if you were you even born in
I wasn't,
79? Were you
I wasn't
about a year old, or?
No, I wasn't born yet. I was born in 80. So
Tell you what, I wasn't born yet either.
Neither was I.
Yeah. So yeah, but
well,
yeah,
guys,
man.
I tell you what, great show tonight. I'll tell you what, we ended talking about gymnastics. So in that vein, everybody vault on over to that like and subscribe button and just hit that if you like what we do. We'd appreciate those likes and subs. It helps get our name out there, helps with the algorithm. And for everybody that's tuned in and continues to tune in every week, guys, we appreciate it so very much. There's another look at the 2024 Clemson football schedule. And if you missed that portion of the show, you could go back and watch it once we're done here. And you can hear our breakdown of the 12 games that Clemson's going to be playing and hopefully beyond that here in the coming football season that is slated to begin on August 31st against the Georgia Bulldogs down in Atlanta. So that's going to do it for us tonight. Again, thanks, everybody. Thanks to our sponsor, Ardens Burger and Grill. Clifton, great job as always. We say it every week. We love doing this and feel like we come into our own more and more with each episode. So be looking forward to the next one. But until then,
definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. But until then, guys, we tell everybody good luck, God bless, Godspeed, and as always, go Tigers.
Go Tigers.
Go Tigers.
Go Tigers.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.